Okay, Shane Schaffer is the chairman and CEO of Cingulate. You've had him on the air here before. You'll have him. I mean, it's turned into a public service. The network has asked us to do kind of a long form with him, and hopefully we can put that together in terms of a busymentary. But in the meantime, we've got Shane here as chairman and CEO, as well as Dr. Matt Brams, the chief medical officer. It's really interesting hearing how the whole thing started from nothing.
From a barbecue
Yeah.
to where we are now. We were talking before the break, though, about ADHD people who have it, patients, and you're giving them a stimulant. Do you also provide like a rubber wall or a tether or a treadmill for them to go on as well?
They got misnamed.
Yeah, that's how we diagnose them. Is we put them in a treadmill.
I mean, because it does seem like didn't they used to call this hyperactivity disorder way back in the
did.
day?
Yeah.
But it's a highly genetic disorder. So if someone has it, probably someone in the family has it.
But why stimulant?
Tell you why. Because what the deficit is when you have ADHD is you don't regulate dopamine. You all heard of dopamine?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of the word of the week.
It's the great thing. Well, you love dopamine, but people in the front part of their brains, it's more complex than this, but the front part of the brain can't get enough dopamine to do what it needs to do because genetically you have vacuums that suck up dopamine when it needs to. It's hyper. It sucks up too much. Sure. You don't have enough dopamine. So what you do is what dopamine does is it puts the brakes on so you can actually focus. It puts the brakes on your motor so you're not hyper.
Okay.
If you have too little of it, you're going to be hyper and not focused. So if you give someone a stimulant, they're going to calm down, focus, and not be hyper. If I gave it to you, because you don't have ADHD, right? You might get hyper because you have too much.
Right, okay.
So we're replacing with a stimulant the dopamine that's a deficit in ADHD brains.
How close are we to submitting new drug application to FDA?
We are months away. So
Wow.
we're really excited as a company to get our first new drug application off to the agency. We're shooting we've talked a lot about mid-2025. So we're looking at July as when we'll get that thing submitted. We're only waiting on two things. So first, we are ready to report in a very expeditiously that our final clinical trial will be completed.
Oh, wow.
We'll be done. We'll be out of the clinic.
So
all of our phase 3s are already done. This is just a food effect study. The final thing, too, is we're doing stability testing on all of our dosage strengths. So we have 8 dosage strengths, which is a huge clinical and commercial advantage. For the first time in the history of ADHD, coming out of the box, we'll be able to optimize every patient from 6 to 66.
Dang.
So we'll be able to get all patients optimized on the product.
The financial runway to get to the next step.
Yep.
You guys are pretty well healed, but are we always sort of raising money along the way here, or where are we at?
We're at a point.
Financial runway?
It's a great question. Right now, we don't have to raise money right now.
Wow.
So for the first time in our history as a public company, we're not needing to raise money. We have enough runway to get past our NDA submission. There's a very high likelihood we'll have enough capital to get us all the way to approval in the very near future. We're raising capital on a very opportunistic perspective. I mean, we're not looking at bad deals. We're not looking at warrants or any of the things that we've had to do in the past to survive. Well, now we've survived. Now let's thrive. So it's time for the stock to get moving in the right direction.
Sure.
A lot of milestones coming up.
Let me ask you guys about commercialization, because you guys both have experience in the companies that may be acquiring you, or at least this technology. Or are you guys thinking about taking this all the way to the end? Or do you think, are you bring to the 5-yard line and then work on the next thing?
Yep, great question. So what we're looking to do at Cingulate is, number one, always be prepared to commercialize the product. And to do that, we've already executed a commercial marketing agreement with a company called Indegene. They're one of the biggest in the world. Basically, 19 of the top 20 global pharma companies already work with them. The reason we don't know about them is because when that rep or that medical liaison or that e-detail or that commercial marketing message goes out, it doesn't say Indegene, it says Pfizer, Novartis, Sanofi, Glaxo, Cingulate. That's what it says. And we use that, and we don't pay them a royalty. What we do is pay them on a fee-for-service basis. So instead of us building a $100 million commercial infrastructure, which is asinine, not doing that, I bolt on for the price of the ink in my pen.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a DocuSign, so it didn't cost anything. So, but I mean, that's how much more efficient it is. We're working with Indegene. We're building the commercial plan. At the same time.
No, wait. Let me say. No, the fact that they're working with you now, that's got to be a huge vote of confidence. That's got to be an opener indicator saying, okay, they wouldn't be going this far if they didn't have a hunch that this is going to be.
Right. They know that we have built the most innovative ADHD product in history. Okay. We did market research with payers. These are the people that don't like new drugs.
Yeah,
We
right.
did market research with them, and they came back and said, first of all, it's over 120 million lives covered, so basically 2/3 of the United States is what these people cover. They go, this is the most valuable ADHD product in history. That was number one. Number two, they go, we're going to reimburse this product because we want rebates, and by the way, it's a better product. Now, you asked the question, Sully, it's another good one, is what if a big pharma company comes along? My phone's always on me.
Yeah, right.
It's on
sure.
silent now because we're on TV, but trust me, it's always on me.
These commercials,
We'll take those
at
calls.
the same time you're with these, there's also a couple other prongs that are going at the same time with you, right? I mean,
So we are also talking to mid-sized pharma companies to potentially co-promote the asset, co-promote our other products. We're in a conversation right now for potential global licensing to one company of our entire portfolio of products. So that would be something that we'd be super excited about, but that would be a game changer for Cingulate.
for
But we would keep it in the United States.
would
That would
you
bring a lot of non-dilutive capital.
would you guys ever focus on another drug?
Oh, absolutely. So we have two now. We have a third in anxiety. We have a fourth, most likely coming in the insomnia category. We're looking at a product in xerostomia. That's a dry mouth issue that almost every patient over 60 has to face. So we're looking at a lot of products. Every time we talk to a group of clinicians back when we were private, they'd go, hey, did you think about this? Did you think about this? And we have over 50 different potential medications that we know we can build, and it comes down to two factors. Number one, I want to solve major unmet medical needs, not just compliance. Compliance is important. I want to solve an unmet need and improve those outcomes. And second, it has to have at least $750 to $1 billion market potential.
Yeah. What's interesting here is that the ADHD market is not shrinking.
$22 billion in the U.S. alone.
Yeah, and it's mostly unaddressed properly.
Absolutely. About 70% of patients who take ADHD medicine have to take a booster in the afternoon. Ours is built in. You've got that market right there.
Will you guys promise to come back again?
Please.
It's always the best
Always love
shows.
it. Yeah, I love it.
Let's marry
Yeah.
you. Ticks you missed this one.
Yeah.
Shane Schaffer, Chairman and CEO, Dr. Matthew Brams, Chief Medical Officer. The name of the company is Cingulate, C-I-N-G. Guys, thanks for coming in once again. I appreciate
see you
it.
guys.
Big Biz Show. That does it for us.
Merry
See you
Christmas,
tomorrow.
everybody.